Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to another narrated Pokemon Wi-Fi battle. Today's battle is an overused match against an opponent by the name of LowKey that I met on the Smogon Wi-Fi Battle Finder, and this is one of just the few OU matches that I've had recently just because I felt like I should be uploading some OU every once in a while, even though I don't enjoy it as much as I enjoy the other tiers. But as you can see today, I'm bringing a few interesting guys. My opponent brought a rain team, so I guess we'll just jump into it right now and see how things go. So to start things off, I decided to lead off with my Jirachi as my opponent led off with his Politoed. Now I'm assuming this just happened because he wanted to get up the rain as soon as possible, but my Jirachi is Scarf, so regardless of what kind of set this Politoed is running, I just U-turn out of their first turn, get off a little bit of damage, and then go into my Blissey to take whatever special attack this Politoed wants to go for. Now he does predict the Blissey switch going for Focus Blast, but as you can see right there, I actually have the Chople Berry because this is a Chople counter Blissey with Thunder Wave as I went for right there, and my opponent continues to go for Focus Blast, but as you saw right there, that's only half the damage Focus Blast would normally do because the Chople Berry activated, so even if he went for it again, he was still fighting a losing battle against Blissey because of its massive special defense. But I predicted a switch out there, go for a Thunder Wave, paralyze the Ferrothorn, which is great because I don't really have any other status I can inflict on this thing, as I go out into my Gliscor to basically get my rocks up for the remainder of the battle. Figured this was possibly the safest turn to bring it in, and my opponent goes for a Leech Seed, but because of the Poison Heal recovery, I'm actually recovering off the same amount of damage Leech Seed is doing to me, so it's kind of evening out at the end anyway. But as you can see right here, I'm still fighting a losing battle, so I do have to get out of there, go into my Scissor, as my opponent then goes for another Gyro Ball. Doesn't do that much damage, obviously I resist it, and this is actually more of a defensive Scissor that I'm using. And so I just go for Roost right there to get back up to full, as my opponent then goes for the Thunder Wave, which I thought was very odd, packing Thunder Wave with Gyro Ball. Not really sure why, but either way, I mean, I guess it worked for purposes of this video, but I guess my opponent was fearing the superpower right there. I just go for U-turn to get out and go maybe into something else, probably my Keldeo, as my opponent switches out into the Politoed to then faint from the U-turn for my Scissor. But either way, Keldeo versus Dragonite, I know I'm faster unless he's Scarfed, so I actually have the Hidden Power Ice on this Keldeo. Go for that right there. Unfortunately, it does not kill though, which is a little bit of a bummer, as my opponent goes for the Thunder. I'm guessing this is more of a special variant of Dragonite, though if he did have the Hurricane, I figured that would have been the preferred move right there. That probably would have killed me, honestly, but I guess he just went for the Thunder anyway, maybe to get a Paralysis or predicting me to switch out. But either way, I get off a huge amount of damage on that Dragonite with the HP Ice, and then my opponent switches out to preserve the Dragonite. However, because of the Stealth Rocks that are up, I basically killed the Dragonite as it switched out, which is really good for me. And now I know T-Wave is coming, but I figured, you know what, this is my best chance to get some solid damage on Ferrothorn. So I'm just going to go for Secret Sword, take the Thunder Wave, whatever. It's not that big of a deal. Keldeo isn't that great against rain teams because it hits with water type moves. It works on rain teams really well, but against them it's not really as effective. Either way, I'm able to actually take out that Ferrothorn right there, which is really great. And my opponent brings it as Dragonite, dies to Stealth Rock. Thought that was kind of a waste of fodder right there. But either way, I stay in here as Kingdra comes in. I know it can't be Swift Swim, or at least it shouldn't be. So I was expecting the Dragon Dance variant, which is why I didn't go out into Blissey right away, just because I was expecting it to DD up and then kill me on the following turn with like Waterfall or something. So I wanted to call its bluff first, but it turns out it is a special variant. So I'm able to bring in my Blissey right there and T-Wave the Kingdra, which is really great because now everything on his team is getting paralyzed. And this thing can't really do that much damage to me because of it's being at -2 right now, and also because Blissey is just Blissey with the special defense and the HP and all that stuff. But he brings in Tentacruel here, and Tentacruel is a huge problem to this team, which is something I didn't realize. It's not that I can't handle Tentacruel, it's that I cannot kill Tentacruel. So all the parts of Tentacruel are going to be sped up. He goes for Toxic right there, and I do have the Natural Cure, and I could go for Seismic Tosses all day. But as you can see right here, it has the Rain Dish ability plus Leftovers. You can't poison it because it is a poison type. So I just kind of brought my Scizor in here to die. There's really nothing else I could have done in that situation. I'm just going for Bullet Punch / Pursuit just to do some damage to it because I don't really care at this point. I just wanted it to die. But either way, now that it is dead, I'm like, well, I got my Gliscor. I might as well just do a ton of damage to it with Earthquake. Did not do as much as I was hoping for, but either way, on the following turn, I'm like, well, I got Gengar, so I might as well bring it in. Go for Sub. I have Sub Disable on this Gengar. I could Sub and then disable the Scald. So I go for the Shadow Ball first to do some damage to it, and then me expecting my opponent to protect right there, I go for another sub or hoping for paralysis. Either way, didn't get it, but at this point now I can disable the Scald, so I do just that. And now my opponent actually does not have a move to hit this Gengar, so I'm free to go for another Shadow Ball right here, expecting him to switch into whatever. I catch the Kingdra on the switch, which is really great, and then I'm able to 2-hit KO it from here because Gengar just has massive special attack. Don't use it too often because I don't play a lot of OU, but it always has impressed me in the amount of damage that I can do. But now, seeing as his Mamoswine is in here, I know it's not going to go for Earthquake because I have a Gengar in, so I switch out my Jirachi to resist the Ice move, which is really great. Learn that it's a Life Orb Mamoswine, and then I'm able to, or I try to Iron Head it on the following turn, but he switches out going into the Tentacruel, switch out again because, again, I can't kill this thing. Going to Blissey this time, knowing that Seismic Toss is going to be doing a decent amount of damage every time I use it, obviously 100 points of damage. However, because of both the Rain Dish and the lefties, I can't kill it. So I switch out into my Gengar again on a turn I know he's probably going to protect. Thankfully he does right there. Then I go for Substitute again as he goes for Scald, and I'm like, well, he can probably just protect to dodge the disable, so I'm going to sub again in case he does that. Unfortunately, my opponent just keeps attacking, so I'm like, alright, I'm just going to disable you now. Now you have to switch out, and me knowing that all he has left other than this Tentacruel is the Mamoswine, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to hit it with a Focus Blast, but no, I miss. Which really sucks for a lot of reasons, but either way, now I kind of have to figure out how I'm going to work around this Mamoswine. I bring in Jirachi again, knowing that he's probably not going to predict the Earthquake, or predict Jirachi coming in and go for Earthquake. So I do that, and then I U-turn on the following turn, expecting him to go out into his Tentacruel, but he does not do that as he goes for the Earthquake. And now, because I've been doing so much switching, I'm like, he's going to go for some other move. So I'm just going to go into Bliss. He actually goes for Superpower here, which would have been really great if I had the Chilple Berry still. I would have lived this, maybe got some extra Life Orb recoil, which would have been nice. But unfortunately, my Bliss just dies right here. And now, seeing as he's at minus defense, I'm like, well, I'm just going to go for the Iron Head. I want to kill this thing, so I'm going to do it. Luckily for me, he stays in this time, and I Iron Head it and take it out. Now, all he has left is this Tentacruel, which is why I sped this up incredibly. So at this point, I'm just waiting for Jirachi to die because I want to just bring in my Gengar, disable the Scald, and then kill it. But Jirachi being Jirachi and having the Serene Grace ability, plus my opponent being paralyzed, doesn't want to die that easily, so I get like 3 flinches there over the course of this, just waiting to die. But either way, he went for Scald now, so I can just disable it immediately, then go for Substitute, and proceed to do whatever I feel like now, because my opponent cannot touch this Gengar. I accidentally make a misclick right here, going for Substitute. That was just stupid on my part. But I'm just going for Shadow Balls, hoping for maybe a crit or a special defense drop to just speed this up. But my opponent actually never goes for Protect on a turn that I disable him, which is really weird because honestly, this battle should have been my opponent's, but because they never did that, I'm gonna actually win out in the end over this incredibly long stall war that you are seeing right now. It's just basically me going for sub and then Shadow Ball whenever I can. He went for Rapid Spin there. That was really odd. I think he just wanted to kind of speed up the process, but damn, Tentacruel and Rain, it just doesn't die. It's worse than Hydration Vaporeon more often than not, just because it has more utility than Vaporeon because it can't Rapid Spin. But either way, bring it down to a low range of health. Now I get the special defense drop, which is really great. But again, I still think this battle should not have been mine. I got outplayed, and he just had more cards than I did with this Tentacruel. But either way, I pull away with the victory at the end, despite my opponent making, I guess, a couple mistakes right there. But either way, that is pretty much this OU battle. It was a doozy. I think it was like 75-ish turns, most of which were the end of the battle, where I'm just trying to kill Tentacruel and couldn't. But either way, that's something that I have to think about. It's not that this Pokemon can't handle Tentacruel, as I said before, it's just that it can't kill it under rain. So it's a very specific type of Tentacruel that I don't know how often I'm actually going to run into using this team. But either way, it was a very fun match. It was pretty long at the end, but either way, had a blast doing it. I really enjoyed this team because it's just fun. It isn't a weather-based team, which is something that I try to make because I don't really enjoy using weather. Not that I hate it, it's just it's not really my style. So I'm glad I made a successful team to counter a rain team, so to speak, in this battle. But anyways, hope you enjoyed this little OU match since I haven't been uploading a lot of OU. I know some of you have been asking for it, so I'm glad I finally got a really close one to show you all. But anyways, that is it for this battle, everyone. So thank you as always for watching. Take care and goodbye. I will see you next time.